Chosen one. Why does God go silent the moment you're about to break through? Why do the heavens feel locked, sealed, just when you've suffered the most? And why? Why does Tuesday, November 18th, carry a spiritual weight so heavy that one wrong move could unravel years of divine preparation? Chosen one, listen to me. I'm 73 years old. I've buried friends. I've watched ministries crumble. I've seen people stand on the edge of their blessing and destroy it with their own hands because they didn't know what they were holding. And I'm telling you right now, from this cramped studio in Brooklyn, where I've recorded 1,000 messages, this one is different. Tuesday is not an ordinary day. Something has been built for you in the unseen. God has been moving pieces, people, doors, moments into perfect alignment. But there is a mistake so quiet, so ordinary, so woven into your routine that you won't even notice you're making it. And it will cost you everything. You've lived long enough to know how it works. A sentence said in anger that breaks a marriage. A moment of pride that closes a door. A choice made in exhaustion that derails a calling. The devil doesn't need a dramatic fall. He just needs you distracted on the wrong Tuesday. If your chest is tight right now, if something inside you is saying this is for me, type AMEN in the comments. Let me know you're here. Let me know we're walking this together. Because what I'm about to show you isn't theory. It's not feel-good inspiration. It's warfare intelligence straight from the Word. And if you stay with me until the end, you will know exactly what the mistake is, how to avoid it, and what God has waiting on the other side. Before we go deeper, I want to thank every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful. Your presence here, your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead. Now, let me tell you what heaven has been preparing, and what you're about to destroy if you're not careful. Have you ever noticed how the most important moments in your life arrived quietly with no fanfare, no warning, just a door that opened on an ordinary Tuesday? Have you ever wondered why some people step through and are transformed, while others just as faithful, just as deserving somehow miss it? And have you ever asked yourself, what if I've been prepared for something so long that I've forgotten how to recognize it when it finally arrives? Let me tell you something about time that most churches won't teach you. God doesn't work on our calendar. He works on a divine clock, precise, intentional, crafted like a master watchmaker setting gears into perfect alignment. Every piece matters. Every tooth on every wheel has to connect at exactly the right moment, or the whole mechanism stops. You've seen a pocket watch, haven't you? The kind your grandfather carried. Open the back and you'll see dozens of tiny gears, springs, jewels, all working in harmony. Remove one piece, shift one gear by a single notch, and the entire watch fails. That's what November is. Not just any November. This November, this year, this season of your life, heaven has been turning gears behind the scenes, people you haven't met yet. Doors you didn't know existed, provision you couldn't see coming, all of it synchronized, all of it timed, all of it waiting for Tuesday, November 18th, when everything clicks into place. But here's what breaks my heart. I've watched too many people stand at the threshold of their breakthrough and destroy it with their own hands. Not because they lacked faith, not because God changed his mind, but because they made one small, ordinary mistake on the day it mattered most. You've waited long, haven't you? You've carried this promise through seasons that nearly broke you. You've held on to a word from God while everyone around you moved on, settled, gave up. You've wondered if you heard him wrong, if you were foolish to believe, if maybe this blessing was meant for someone else. But it wasn't. It was always meant for you. And right now, heaven is finishing something in your life that started years ago. I'm not talking about a feeling. I'm not talking about inspiration. I'm talking about a tangible shift that will change your address, your relationships, your spiritual authority, your legacy. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 3:1, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." Not eventually, not someday, a specific time, a specific season. And when that moment arrives, you have to be ready. But here's the danger. There is one thing, one tiny, invisible thing that can snap that alignment in half. And most people will do it without thinking, without even knowing. They'll wake up on Tuesday, November 18th, and go through their routine like any other day. They'll react the way they always react. They'll speak the way they always speak. They'll make the same small compromise they've made 100 times before. And the door will close. Not because God is cruel, but because alignment requires precision. Because when heaven moves, it moves with exact timing, and if you're not in position, the moment passes. Think about the children of Israel. They wandered in the desert for 40 years, circling the same mountain, waiting for the promised land. And when the moment finally came, when God said, "Now, cross over," they had one job: move forward in faith. But an entire generation couldn't do it. They stood at the edge of everything they'd been promised and let fear, doubt, and old habits hold them back. And they died in the wilderness. Not because God abandoned them, but because they abandoned the moment. Deuteronomy 1-2 tells us it was an 11-day journey from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea. 11 days. But it took them 40 years because they weren't ready when the door opened. I don't want that to be you. I don't want you to look back 6 months from now, a year from now, and realize you were standing at your Red Sea moment and you hesitated. You doubted. You reacted in the flesh instead of responding in the spirit. Because here's what I know about November 18th. It's not just another Tuesday. It's a convergence point, a spiritual intersection where what you've been praying for and what God has been preparing meet in real time. The enemy knows this. He's been studying you. He knows your triggers. He knows what makes you angry, what makes you doubt, what makes you step out of alignment. And he will use it. He doesn't need a dramatic fall. He doesn't need you to curse God or walk away from your faith. He just needs you distracted, irritated, off-center. He just needs you to make one small choice in the wrong spirit, and the gears stop turning. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Keep your heart with all diligence, for out of it spring the issues of life." Not some of the issues, all of them. Your heart posture on Tuesday will determine whether you step into destiny or circle the mountain one more time. So let me ask you this. If you've ever felt like you were on the edge of breakthrough before, if you've ever sensed that something was about to shift, but it didn't, if you've ever wondered what you missed, write "not this time" in the comments. Because what I'm about to show you next is the exact mistake that has destroyed more breakthroughs than any demon, any attack, any external opposition ever could. And it's hiding in plain sight. Let me tell you something about time that most people don't understand until it's too late. There are days in your life that carry more weight than others. Days when the spiritual atmosphere is so charged that your smallest choice echoes louder than a shout. Days when heaven is watching, and so is hell. Tuesday, November 18th is one of those days. Now, I know what you're thinking. It's just another Tuesday. I've got errands to run, bills to pay, maybe a doctor's appointment. And that's exactly why the enemy wants you to treat it like any other day. Because when you're not paying attention, when you think nothing spiritual is happening, that's when you're most vulnerable. Let me take you to the Word. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." Solomon wasn't just writing poetry. He was revealing a spiritual law. There are appointed times, kairos moments, days when what you do carries exponential weight. And here's what terrifies me for you, chosen one. On these kinds of days, small actions multiply. You know this already. You've lived long enough to see it. One careless word spoken to your daughter, and 20 years later, she still remembers it. One moment of anger toward your spouse, and the marriage never fully recovered. One choice made in frustration, and the door to your calling slammed shut. James 3-5 warns us. The tongue is a small member, yet it boasts of great things. How great a forest is set ablaze by such a small fire, a small fire, a small mistake. But on certain days, chosen one, that spark doesn't just burn, it consumes. Do you remember the solar eclipse I warned you about months ago? How the energy in the atmosphere amplified everything. How reactions felt sharper, emotions more volatile, spiritual attacks more precise. That wasn't coincidence. That was cosmic alignment meeting spiritual warfare. Tuesday operates the same way. And the mistake I'm about to reveal to you, it's so ordinary you won't even recognize it as dangerous. It hides in your routine. It disguises itself as stress, as fatigue, as just having a bad day. But let me show you the spiritual mechanics behind this. In the unseen realm, God has been arranging something for you. He's been moving people into position, preparing doors, aligning circumstances. For some of you, it's financial. For others, it's relational restoration. For many of you, it's the calling you thought you were too old to walk into. Heaven has been building this for months, maybe years. But here's what the enemy knows that you don't. There are moments when preparation meets opportunity, and if he can get you to self-sabotage in that narrow window, the entire structure collapses. Not because God abandons you, but because you abandoned alignment. Proverbs 16:18 says it clearly, "Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." But it's not just pride, it's reaction, it's impatience, it's speaking when you should be silent, it's allowing frustration to control your tongue, it's reacting to a trigger that's been set specifically to derail you on the exact day heaven was ready to release your breakthrough. You've seen this happen before, haven't you? You were so close. The job was almost yours. The relationship was healing. The ministry was about to launch. And then you said something. You reacted. You let your emotions take the wheel for just one moment, and everything fell apart. Now imagine that moment landing on Tuesday. A day when spiritual warfare is at its peak. A day when your reaction doesn't just affect you, it ripples through the divine timeline God has orchestrated. That's why this isn't just dangerous, it's catastrophic. Let me make this personal for you. Think about the people in your life right now. Your children, your spouse, your friends, the ones who still frustrate you, the ones who know exactly which buttons to push, the ones whose presence alone can make your blood pressure rise. What if I told you that on Tuesday, they're going to push those buttons? Not by accident, but because the enemy knows that if he can get you to react in the flesh instead of responding in the spirit, he can shut down what heaven is releasing. Your breakthrough isn't being blocked by demons in some far-off realm. It's being blocked by your reaction to a phone call, an email, a comment, a memory. 1 Peter 5-8 warns, "Be sober, minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. He's not coming with fangs. He's coming through your emotions, your weariness, your justified frustration. And on Tuesday, he's counting on you to make the mistake." Now, I haven't told you what the mistake is yet, and I'm not going to. Not yet. Because if I told you now, you'd think, "Oh, I'd never do that." But you would. We all would. Because it's woven into how we respond when we're tired, when we're provoked, when we feel attacked. The mistake is so ordinary that it feels invisible, so human that it feels justified, so small that you won't realize you've made it until the door closes. And here's the part that breaks my heart. Some of you are going to make this mistake not because you're bad people, but because you didn't know Tuesday was different. You didn't know heaven was watching. You didn't know the enemy was setting the trap. You didn't know that what God has been preparing for you depends on how you handle one moment, one reaction, one choice. So let me ask you this, and I want you to really sit with it. What if the thing standing between you and your breakthrough isn't the devil's power but your own reaction? What if God has already released the blessing, but you're about to reject it with your own mouth. What if Tuesday is the test you didn't know you were taking? Stay with me, because now I'm going to tell you exactly what the mistake is, and more importantly, how to avoid it, so that when heaven opens the door on Tuesday, you're standing in the right place, with the right spirit, ready to receive what's been prepared for you since before you were born. Now, I'm going to tell you something that might shake you, and I need you to stay with me, because this isn't what you think. The mistake that will destroy what God has been preparing for you on November 18th isn't some grand sin. It's not adultery. It's not theft. It's not blasphemy. It's far more dangerous because it's disguised as normal. The mistake is this: engaging in emotional conflict on Tuesday, arguing, reacting, letting your emotions take the wheel when someone pushes that button they know how to push. I can hear some of you right now saying, "That's it? An argument? I've been arguing for 70 years, and that's exactly why the enemy knows it'll work." Listen to me carefully. You've lived long enough to know that not every Tuesday is the same. There are days when a conversation is just a conversation, and then there are days when a single sentence spoken in anger becomes a seed that grows into years of regret. November 18th is one of those days. The spiritual atmosphere on this particular Tuesday is uniquely volatile. God has been aligning something massive in your life, relationships being restored, financial doors about to swing open, a calling that's been dormant for decades, suddenly coming back to life. But here's what most believers don't understand. The closer you get to breakthrough, the more hell focuses on your mouth. Proverbs 18:21 says it plainly: death and life are in the power of the tongue. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always. On November 18th, your words carry 10 times their normal weight. An argument you'd normally recover from in an hour could fracture something God spent 5 years building. A reaction you'd typically brush off could open a door in the spirit realm that takes months to close. You know exactly who I'm talking about, don't you? That family member who knows which old wound to press. That neighbor who always has something slick to say. That person at church who's been side-eyeing you for years. The enemy has been whispering in their ear all week, loading them up, preparing them to come at you on Tuesday with the exact words designed to make you explode. And here's the trap. You'll feel justified. They'll say something disrespectful, something dismissive, something that dishonors the decades you've spent holding things together. And every fiber in your being will scream, "I'm not letting that slide. Not this time." But that's the mistake. Because the issue isn't whether you're right. You probably are. The issue is whether you're willing to trade your breakthrough for the satisfaction of being right. James 1:20 tells us, "The wrath of man does not produce the righteousness of God." Your anger, even when it's justified, does not advance God's kingdom in your life. It delays it. After all these years, after everything you've survived, after every storm you've walked through with your faith intact, don't let one heated conversation on the wrong Tuesday become the thing that sabotages what heaven has been setting up. You deserve peace. You've earned rest. Don't surrender it for a moment of emotional release. Now here's what's really happening beneath the surface. And this is where it gets urgent. When you engage in conflict on a spiritually significant day, you're not just having an argument. You're making a declaration in the spirit. You're saying, "My emotions matter more than my assignment." And the moment you make that declaration, spiritual doors shift. Ephesians 4:26-7 warns us, "Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil." That word opportunity in Greek is topos. It means a place, a location, a foothold. When you let anger control you, you hand the enemy a piece of territory in your life. And on November 18th, that territory could be the exact ground where your blessing was supposed to land. Think about it. How many times in your life has one argument spiraled into something much bigger? A family split, a friendship ended, a ministry fractured. It always starts small. It always feels justified. And it always costs more than you plan to pay. But here's what I need you to hear, and this is the part that should terrify you into action. The person who's going to trigger you on Tuesday may not even know they're being used. The devil doesn't need permission, he just needs access. And if someone near you has unresolved bitterness, unhealed wounds, or spiritual doors they've left open, hell will use them like a puppet on November 18th to provoke you into destroying your own future. You won't see it coming. It'll feel random, organic. Just another one of those days. But it's not. This is coordinated. This is strategic. This is hell making one final attempt to knock you off course before God moves you into the next chapter. So what do? You recognize the setup. You see it for what it is, and you refuse to take the bait. If you've been feeling tension rising already, if there's been an unusual irritation between you and someone close, say, "I feel it" in the comments right now, because that's confirmation. That's the spirit realm giving you a preview of the attack. And if you feel it, you're already halfway to victory. Because you can't fall for a trap you see coming. Now I know what some of you are thinking. But what if they disrespect me? What if they come at me sideways? Am I just supposed to stay silent? Not silent. Strategic. There's a difference between responding and reacting. Reacting is emotional, impulsive, and opens doors. Responding is measured, spirit-led, and keeps you in alignment. Proverbs 15:1 gives us the blueprint. A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. On November 18th, your soft answer isn't weakness, it's warfare. It's you refusing to give the enemy the reaction he's been counting on. Because here's the truth that'll set you free. What God has prepared for you doesn't require you to fight for it. It requires you to protect it. And the way you protect it is by guarding your mouth, controlling your emotions, and walking away from conflicts that don't serve your destiny. So I'm asking you right now, before Tuesday even gets here, who's the person you need to avoid? Who's the conversation you need to postpone? Who's the text message you need to leave on read? Because if you can answer that question honestly, you've already won half the battle. Now let me show you what happens when you get this right. Let me tell you what Tuesday looks like. You wake up, coffee's brewing, the house is quiet, maybe too quiet. You check your phone messages from your daughter about Thanksgiving plans. Already there's tension in the text. She wants to host this year, but last time she hosted, nobody helped her clean up, and she spent 2 days exhausted and resentful. You feel it starting, that tightness in your chest. Or maybe it's your son. He calls about money again. Medical bills, car repairs. You've helped before, Lord knows you've helped, but there's something in his voice. Not gratitude, expectation. Like you owe him something for being his parent. Your jaw clenches. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Your spouse says something at breakfast, something small, something about the thermostat or the grocery list or why you forgot to call the plumber. And it's not what they said, it's how they said it. Like you're a burden, like you're slipping. Like after 50 years together, they've stopped seeing you and started managing you. Your throat burns. Chosen one, do you feel it? That rising heat, that ancient familiar anger that lives just beneath your skin, waiting for the right moment to crack through. That's the test. And here's what makes it so dangerous. It doesn't feel like a test. It feels like justice. It feels like you've earned the right to speak your mind. You've been patient. You've been kind. You've bitten your tongue 1,000 times while people took you for granted, interrupted you, dismissed you, forgot you. And Tuesday, November 18th, is the day hell has been circling on the calendar. Because something has been building in the spiritual realm. Something is about to break open for you. A door, a restoration, a long-awaited answer to a prayer. You stopped praying out loud because it hurt too much to hope. But the enemy knows that too, so he sets a trap, and he wraps it in routine. Proverbs 15:1 says, "A soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger." One sentence, 14 words. But it contains the blueprint for either breakthrough or destruction. Because here's what happens in that moment on Tuesday. Someone will say something that lands wrong. Maybe it's your child. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's a stranger at the pharmacy who's rude while you're picking up prescriptions. Your body will react before your mind does. Your chest will tighten, your fists will curl, your voice will rise in your throat like a wave gathering strength. And you'll have a choice. Not a big dramatic movie moment choice. A quiet one. A 2-second decision that feels like nothing but determines everything. James 1:19-20 warns us. Let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. For the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. Slow to anger. But you're tired of being slow, aren't you? You're tired of swallowing words. Tired of being the bigger person. Tired of watching everyone else get loud while you stay quiet, and somehow you're the one left feeling small. I know. I've been there. 73 years on this earth, and I've lost count of how many times I've stood at that exact crossroads between responding in the spirit and reacting in the flesh. And I've failed that test more times than I've passed it. But here's what I learned the hard way. The test is never actually about the person in front of you. It's about the atmosphere around you. The devil doesn't care if your anger is justified. He only cares that it creates a frequency, a vibration in the spiritual realm that blocks what's trying to reach you. Ephesians 4:26-7 says, "Be angry and do not sin. Do not let the sun go down on your anger, and give no opportunity to the devil." Give no opportunity. That word opportunity in Greek is topos. It means a place, a location, a landing strip. Your anger, even your righteous anger, becomes geography for the enemy. He doesn't need you to curse God. He just needs you distracted, vibrating at the wrong frequency, locked into an argument that doesn't matter while the door God opened starts to close. Because doors don't stay open forever. Let me paint the picture more clearly. Imagine you're standing in a hallway. At the end of that hallway is a door. Behind that door is everything God has been preparing, the reconciliation you've prayed for, the financial breakthrough, the healing in your family, the peace that's eluded you for decades. But between you and that door is someone, maybe someone you love, and they say something sharp, something cruel, something that cuts. Now, you have two choices. You can stop right there in the hallway and engage. You can correct them. You can defend yourself. You can make sure they know they hurt you. And you'd be right to do it. Justified. Entitled. But while you're stopped in that hallway, fighting that fight, the door begins to close. Not because God is petty, but because the atmosphere you're creating, anger, bitterness, unforgiveness, cannot coexist with the blessing trying to manifest. 1 Peter 3:9 says, "Do not repay evil for evil or reviling for reviling, but on the contrary, bless, for to this you were called, that you may obtain a blessing." You were called to obtain a blessing, but the pathway to that blessing runs straight through the fire of your own restraint. So here's what Tuesday will feel like. It will feel like a trap wrapped in routine, like a spark waiting for your breath to become a wildfire. It will feel small and justified and completely reasonable, and that's exactly why it's so dangerous. If this is landing on you right now, if you feel the weight of this in your bones, whisper it with me, "Lord, steady me," because the mistake isn't the anger. The mistake is feeding it. The mistake is giving it a voice. The mistake is letting Tuesday become the day you destroy, with your own mouth, what heaven spent years building with its hands. And the question you need to answer before Tuesday comes is this: what are you willing to lose to be right? Now listen carefully, because what I'm about to give you isn't advice, it's armor. You've been waiting for breakthrough. You've been praying for doors to open. You've been standing in faith while others mocked your patience. And God has heard every single prayer. He's been building something in the invisible realm, aligning people, shifting circumstances, moving mountains you couldn't even see. But here's what most believers don't understand. The closer you get to receiving what God promised, the more precise the enemy's attacks become. He doesn't come with fire and fury anymore. He comes with irritation, with a careless word, with a text message that makes your blood boil, with family drama that pulls you into old patterns. And if he can get you to react just once on the wrong day, at the wrong hour, he can delay what heaven has already released. That's why Tuesday matters. November 18th is a threshold day. It's when the spiritual and the natural collide. It's when what's been brewing in the unseen finally begins to break through into your reality. But thresholds are dangerous. They're narrow. One misstep, and you're back where you started. So I'm going to give you 4 instructions. Not suggestions. Instructions, straight from the Spirit. And if you follow them, if you guard yourself like a soldier on watch, you will walk into Wednesday morning with something new in your hands. Instruction number 1. Silence protects blessings. Proverbs 21:23 says, "Whoever guards his mouth preserves his life." On Tuesday, if someone provokes you, breathe. Don't speak. I don't care if they're wrong. I don't care if you have the perfect comeback. I don't care if your flesh is screaming to defend yourself. Zip it. Swallow it. Let it burn in your chest if it has to, but do not let it leave your lips. Because here's what happens in the spirit when you react in anger. You hand the enemy a legal right to interfere. You open a door. You break the seal on what God was protecting. And that door stays open longer than you think. I've seen it 100 times. A man stands in faith for 20 years. One sharp word to his wife on the wrong Tuesday, and the job offer that was coming gets delayed another 6 months. A woman waits for reconciliation with her daughter. One text sent in irritation, and the door slams shut again. You think I'm exaggerating? Read Ephesians 4:27. Do not give the devil a foothold. A foothold is small. It's one sentence, one reaction, one moment where you let your emotions override your assignment. So on Tuesday, guard your mouth like it's the gateway to your future, because it is. Instruction number 2. Step away gracefully. If tension rises, and it will, don't stand there trying to win. Walk into another room. Go outside. Let heaven cool the atmosphere. You're not running. You're repositioning. You're refusing to be the spark that lights the fire the enemy has been setting up for weeks. Jesus did this. When they tried to trap him with questions, he walked away. When they wanted to stone him, he slipped through the crowd. He knew when to engage and when to vanish. That's wisdom, not weakness. On Tuesday, be like water. Soft, flowing, untouchable. Instruction number 3. Pray under your breath. The moment you feel heat rising, whether it's anger, fear, or frustration, whisper this: Lord, guard my mouth and steady my heart. That's it, 7 words. But they activate divine intervention. Psalm 141:3 says, "Set a guard, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep watch over the door of my lips." You're inviting God into the moment before the moment goes wrong. You're asking him to take control before you lose it. And beloved, he will answer that prayer faster than any other, because he knows what's at stake. Pray it in the kitchen, pray it in the car, pray it while someone's talking at you, and you can feel your blood pressure rising. Let those 7 words be your emergency exit. Instruction number 4. Keep the day simple. No deep conversations on Tuesday. No big decisions. No responding to emotionally charged texts. No family confrontations. No trying to clear the air with someone who's been distant. Just live quiet. Eat your meals. Read your Bible. Take a walk. Go to bed early. I know that sounds boring. I know you've got things to say and problems to solve. But Tuesday is not the day. It's a trap dressed up as opportunity. The enemy will make everything feel urgent. He'll whisper, "If you don't say something now, you'll lose your chance." That's a lie. What's yours will still be yours on Wednesday, but if you act out of urgency instead of obedience, you'll lose what you were never meant to fight for in the first place. Keep it simple, keep it silent, keep it sacred. Now here's the promise. And I need you to feel the weight of this. If you hold the line on Tuesday, something long delayed will finally move. I'm talking about the thing you stopped praying for because it hurt too much to hope. The reconciliation you gave up on. The door you thought was closed forever. The provision that seemed impossible. The healing that's been almost for too long. God is releasing it. But He needs you to stay steady for one more day. 24 hours of obedience. 24 hours of silence. 24 hours of trusting Him more than you trust your emotions. Can you do that? Can you hold your peace when everything in you wants to explode? Can you walk away when pride tells you to stand your ground? Can you pray instead of react? If the answer is yes, I need you to type in the comments right now. I will hold my peace. Type it so the enemy knows you're prepared. Type it so heaven knows you're serious. Type it so you can look back on Wednesday morning and remember the moment you chose obedience over impulse. Because this isn't just about Tuesday. This is about who you're becoming. This is about whether you'll let God finish what He started, or whether you'll sabotage it with your own hands 5 feet from the finish line. So what's it going to be, beloved? Chosen one, let me tell you what happens when you refuse to make the mistake. When you stand firm on Tuesday. When you say no to the distraction, the irritation, the old pattern that's been destroying your blessings for years, something breaks open in the heavenly realm. Not someday. Not eventually, immediately. Because God has been holding something in reserve, waiting for the exact moment when you prove you're ready to steward it. And Tuesday, November 18th, is that moment. Let me be clear about what I mean. I'm not talking about a feeling. I'm not talking about a nice thought you'll have during your morning coffee. I'm talking about tangible, measurable, life-altering shifts that will happen in your body, your mind, your relationships, and your circumstances. And if you've been waiting for breakthrough, if you've been praying for years and heard nothing but silence, what I'm about to tell you will make you weep. The first thing God releases: emotional freedom. There's a weight you've been carrying so long you don't even know it's there anymore. It's the heaviness that wakes you up at 3 a.m., the tightness in your chest when you think about your children, the regret that sits in your stomach like a stone when you remember the decisions you made 20, 30, 40 years ago. You've learned to live with it. You've learned to function. But it's crushing you. And on Tuesday, if you pass the test, God begins the process of lifting it. Listen to what Isaiah 61:3 says. To give unto them beauty for ashes, the oil of joy for mourning, the garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Beauty for ashes. Not someday in glory, here, now, in your lifetime. God is going to take the thing that's been weighing on you, the guilt, the shame, the disappointment in yourself, and He's going to lift it off your shoulders like a coat you've been wearing in summer. And you're going to feel lighter than you've felt in decades. The second thing God releases: correction of delayed promises. Now let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest with yourself. How many prayers have you prayed that seem to have gone unanswered? How many times have you stood on a promise from God, believed it, declared it, walked in faith and watched nothing happen? You didn't stop believing, you didn't walk away, but something got stuck, and you've been wondering if maybe you misheard, maybe you weren't worthy, maybe God changed His mind. I'm here to tell you, nothing got lost. Every promise God made to you is still active. Every word He whispered in the night is still valid. But there's been a delay not because God forgot, but because the enemy has been fighting the release. Daniel prayed for 21 days before the angel arrived. 21 days. And the angel said, "From the first day you set your heart to understand, your words were heard." Daniel 10:12. From the first day, God heard you the first time. But there's been warfare in the heavenly places, blocking what's yours. And on Tuesday, when you refuse to fall into the enemy's trap, when you don't take the bait, something shifts. The blockage breaks, the delay ends, and what's been stuck for months or years starts moving again. Doors you stopped knocking on will swing open. Conversations you stopped hoping for will begin. Provision you stopped expecting will show up, not because you earned it, because you finally stopped sabotaging it. The third thing God releases: mental clarity and peace. You know what it's like to feel confused in your own mind, to wake up and not know what you're supposed to be doing, to question every decision, to feel like you're walking through fog, trying to hear God but getting nothing but static. The Bible calls it a spirit of heaviness, and it's one of the most effective weapons the enemy uses against the elderly. Because when your mind is clouded, you stop moving, you stop fighting, you stop believing. But Philippians 4:7 promises something radical. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Peace that passes understanding. Peace that doesn't make logical sense. Peace in the middle of chaos. That's what God releases when you pass Tuesday's test. Suddenly, the fog lifts, the confusion clears. You wake up and you know what to do, you know what to say, you know where to focus. Your mind becomes sharp again. Your spirit becomes steady. And for the first time in years, you feel like yourself again. The fourth thing God releases: relational healing. This one's going to hit deep, so stay with me. How many of you have adult children who've drifted away? Not physically, they still call on holidays, they still show up for birthdays. But emotionally, spiritually, they're distant. And you've prayed, you've wept, you've wondered what you did wrong. Here's what God showed me. Relational healing doesn't start with them. It starts with you. When you stop reacting the way you've always reacted, when you stop taking the bait on Tuesday, something shifts in the spiritual atmosphere around your family. Suddenly, your son calls out of nowhere. Your daughter softens. Your grandchild asks you a question they've never asked before. It's not coincidence. It's the release. Malachi 4:6 says God will turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers. Not might, will. And Tuesday is the hinge point, the prophetic declaration. So let me say this with every ounce of authority I have in Christ. Tuesday, November 18th, is not the day something ends. It's the day something begins. It's not the closing of a door, it's the opening of a gate. It's not about what was lost, it's about what's finally coming. And if you refuse to make the mistake, if you stand firm, stay quiet when you want to explode, stay humble when you want to defend yourself, you will step through that gate into everything heaven has been preparing. So I'm asking you right now, are you ready? Are you ready for the burden to lift, for the promise to move, for your mind to clear, for your family to heal? If you are, type these words in the comments. I'm ready, Lord, because He's been ready, He's been waiting, and Tuesday is your moment. Chosen one, I need to tell you something that may shake you. The battle over Tuesday didn't start this week. It didn't start this month. It didn't even start this year. It started decades ago. There is a file with your name on it. It sits on the enemy's desk in the unseen realm, and it's thick, page after page of your patterns, your triggers, your weak hours, the exact words that make you snap, the specific disappointments that make you quit, the precise loneliness that makes you compromise, and every single Tuesday test you've ever faced, every argument that seemed to come out of nowhere on a Tuesday morning, every wave of doubt that hit you on a Tuesday afternoon, every door that slammed shut on a Tuesday evening. Those weren't coincidences. They were training exercises. The enemy has been studying you, watching how you react under pressure, measuring how long it takes before you break your peace, timing how quickly you move from faith to fear when the phone doesn't ring, when the check doesn't come, when the pain doesn't stop. And now, on November 18th, he's ready to deploy the final test. But here's what he doesn't know. Heaven has been watching too. In Ephesians 6:12, Paul tells us, "We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." You see that word wrestle? It means a hand-to-hand fight, close, personal, exhausting. This isn't a distant war. This is a battle for your Tuesday. And the weapon isn't a sword. It's a mood. It's a conversation. It's a small decision you make when you're tired. Let me ask you something. Have you ever noticed how the worst fights in your life didn't start with something big? They started with something tiny. A tone, a look, a sentence you said because you were frustrated, not because you were led. That's the Tuesday trap. The enemy doesn't need you to commit some massive sin. He just needs you to react wrong at the right moment. To open your mouth when God said be silent. To close your heart when God said stay soft. To move when God said wait. Because Tuesday, November 18th, is a threshold day. It's the kind of day when decades of divine preparation either lock into place or fall apart. And the strangest thing? Heaven has been preparing an intervention. Angels have been positioned. Doors have been oiled. Conversations have been arranged. Blessings have been loaded into the delivery system. But it all requires your stillness. Job 37:14 says, "Stand still and consider the wondrous works of God." Stand still, not hustle, not react, not defend yourself, not force it. Stand still, because God is moving everything except you. If your spirit just jolted, if something inside you is saying, "I knew it," type those 3 words in the comments. I knew it. Let me know you're tracking with me. Let me know you feel the weight of what's happening. Now here's where it gets even deeper. I've been doing this for 50 years. I've counseled thousands of people. And I can tell you with absolute certainty that the people who miss their breakthrough don't miss it because they're weak. They miss it because they're one day too impatient, one conversation too defensive, one mood too unguarded. They miss it on a Tuesday. You've lived long enough to know what I'm talking about. You've seen marriages end over a single argument that didn't need to happen. You've watched ministries collapse because someone reacted in pride instead of pausing in prayer. You've felt the sting of losing something precious because you were too exhausted to guard it. And here's the thing that haunts me. Most of those people never even knew they were being tested. They thought it was just a bad day. Just stress. Just life. They didn't realize that the enemy had marked that day on his calendar months in advance. They didn't know that hell had assigned a specific demon to provoke them at a specific hour to derail a specific blessing. But you're going to know, because I'm telling you right now, November 18th is marked. It's circled in red in both realms. Heaven has assignments dropping, hell has traps waiting. And you, chosen one, are standing in the center of a cosmic courtroom where your next move determines the verdict. Proverbs 16:32 says, "He that is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he that ruleth his spirit than he that taketh a city." Rule your spirit, not your circumstances, not your spouse, not your boss, your spirit. Because Tuesday's test isn't about what happens to you. It's about what happens in you. And the enemy knows that if he can get you to break your peace, he can break your pipeline. If he can get you to respond in the flesh, he can delay what God ordained in the spirit. If he can trick you into one careless conversation, one faithless decision, one moment of giving up, he can destroy years of preparation in a single afternoon. So let me ask you, what's the one thing that always gets you? What's the trigger the enemy has used successfully before? Is it rejection, delay, ingratitude, disrespect, financial pressure, physical pain? Whatever it is, it's coming on Tuesday. And the question isn't whether the test will show up. The question is whether you'll recognize it before you react to it. Because here's the secret: heaven has been protecting. The mistake isn't what happens on Tuesday. The mistake is how you respond when it does. Let me tell you something about Tuesday that nobody's teaching. It's not what happens to you on November 18th. It's what speaks through the people closest to you. And if you're not prepared, you'll react to the voice instead of recognizing the source. I need you to understand this clearly. On Tuesday, the enemy will not come as a stranger. He will not show up as temptation wrapped in obvious sin. He will come through your daughter's impatient tone when she calls about Thanksgiving plans. He will come through your husband's silence at the breakfast table. He will come through the nurse at your doctor's office who speaks to you like you're invisible. And you will feel it. Not just hear it, Feel it, deep in your chest where old wounds live. Because the enemy knows your history. He knows which words land hardest. He knows that when your son says, "Mom, I'm busy right now," you don't just hear those 5 words. You hear 30 years of distance. You hear every birthday he missed, every phone call that went to voicemail. He knows, and on Tuesday, he will use that knowledge like a blade. Proverbs 18:21 says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." But here's what most people miss. It's not always about what's said. It's about what you hear when the atmosphere is charged. When the spiritual pressure is high, even normal conversations become minefields. Your spouse asks, "Did you pay the electric bill?" And suddenly you're defending your entire existence. Your doctor says, "Your blood pressure is up again," and you hear, "You're failing. You're falling apart." This is not paranoia. This is warfare. The Apostle Paul warned us in Ephesians 6:12, "We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world." That spouse, that child, that friend who seems unusually sharp on Tuesday, they're not your enemy. But something is using their voice as a weapon. And if you react to the person instead of discerning the spirit, you will destroy what God has been building. Because here's the trap. When you feel attacked, your instinct is to defend, to explain, to correct, to withdraw. And in that moment, in that perfectly timed moment, you make the mistake. You speak out of hurt instead of authority. You close your heart instead of guarding it. You pull back from the very relationships God is about to use to position you. I've watched it happen 100 times. A man on the edge of reconciliation with his son snaps during one phone call, and the door slams shut for another 5 years. A woman carrying a prophetic word for her church gets offended by the pastor's tone and walks away the Sunday before her breakthrough. A couple married for 40 years nearly files for divorce because neither one could discern that Tuesday wasn't about them. It was about derailing destiny. Job understood this. When everything collapsed around him, when his children died and his body broke and his wealth vanished, his wife looked at him and said, "Curse God and die." Job 2-9. The woman he loved. The woman who had walked with him through decades of blessing. And in that moment, her voice became a weapon. But Job discerned the source. He didn't curse her. He didn't defend himself. He said, "You speak as one of the foolish women speaks." Job 2:10. He recognized that the shadow was trying to speak through her. And that discernment saved his life. So let me ask you this. When someone close to you speaks sharply on Tuesday, when their words land heavier than they should, when you feel that familiar sting rising up in your throat, what will you do? Will you react or will you recognize? Because here's what I need you to see. The mistake isn't feeling hurt. The mistake is acting like the hurt is the whole truth. You're allowed to feel the sting. You're allowed to notice the weight. But you are not allowed to build your response on a lie. James 1:19 tells us, "Let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath." Slow, not numb, not pretending. Slow, because slowing down creates space. And in that space, the Holy Spirit can whisper, "That's not them. That's the pressure. Don't take the bait." And when you refuse the bait, when you don't react to the echo, when you hold your peace in the middle of atmospheric warfare, you protect what God is preparing. Because Tuesday is a test, not of your patience, not of your forgiveness. It's a test of your discernment. Can you tell the difference between a person and a principality? Can you hear the shadow trying to speak through the familiar? Can you hold steady when the voices around you suddenly feel amplified, distorted, weaponized? This is not abstract theology. This is survival. And if you've ever felt someone's words hit too hard, if you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you just got mugged emotionally, type "Yes, Lord" in the comments right now. Because you need to know you're not imagining this. You're not overreacting. You're sensing what's real. The atmosphere on Tuesday will be charged. and familiar voices will become triggers. But you, chosen one, you will not fall for it, because now you know. The enemy doesn't shout, he whispers through the familiar. So how do you protect yourself? How do you tell who's really speaking when the pressure is on and the voices feel overwhelming? That's what we're covering next, and it will change the way you walk into every conversation for the rest of your life. Now listen carefully, because what I'm about to give you isn't just wisdom, it's a weapon. For 70 years, I've watched good people lose everything because they couldn't tell the difference between a test and a conversation. They thought they were just talking. They thought it was just Tuesday. They didn't know they were standing in a spiritual courtroom where every word was being recorded. You need to understand something about how heaven operates. God doesn't always warn you with thunder. Sometimes the warning is a feeling, a tightness in your chest, a sudden shift in the air. And if you ignore it, if you push through it because you think you're being paranoid or oversensitive, you will walk straight into the trap. The enemy doesn't need you to curse God. He just needs you to respond in the wrong spirit on the wrong day. So here's the code. Write this down, memorize it, teach it to your children. Tone before content. What someone says to you on Tuesday matters less than how the atmosphere feels when they say it. You've lived long enough to know this. You walk into a room and something feels off. The words are nice, but the spirit is wrong. The smile is there, but the eyes are cold. That's not paranoia, that's discernment. And God gave it to you for moments exactly like this. Proverbs 27:19 says, "As water reflects the face, so one's life reflects the heart." You can hear someone's heart in their tone before you ever process their words. And here's what the enemy does. He uses people you love, people you trust, to deliver a sentence designed to pull you out of position. It might be your spouse, it might be your friend, it might be someone at church, and they won't even know they're being used. But you'll feel it. In the first 3 seconds, your chest will tighten, your stomach will drop, and that's when you need to activate what I call the 3-second rule of heaven. If your chest tightens in the first 3 seconds of a conversation, be silent. Don't defend. Don't explain, don't react. You are under spiritual fire, and anything you say will be used against you. Not in a human court, in a spiritual one. Job 13:5 says, "If only you would be altogether silent, for you, that would be wisdom." Do you understand what that means? Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is absolutely nothing. Silence isn't weakness, silence is warfare. Because when you refuse to react, you force the enemy to reveal himself, and God begins to move on your behalf. I've seen it happen 1,000 times. Someone comes at you with a tone, you stay quiet. They escalate, you stay quiet. And within hours, sometimes minutes, the truth comes out. The setup is exposed. The door that was closing suddenly swings open. The person who was against you suddenly apologizes or disappears entirely. That's not coincidence. That's heaven responding to your obedience. But here's the part that will save your life. The switch. You'll be having a normal conversation with someone about dinner, about the weather, about nothing, and suddenly the tone switches. The energy changes. The spirit in the room shifts. And that's when you need to understand. The test has begun. The devil doesn't announce his attacks. He camouflages them in casual conversation. He hides traps in ordinary Tuesdays. And if you're not paying attention, if you're tired, distracted, emotionally drained, you'll walk right into it. You'll say the thing you shouldn't say. You'll react the way you shouldn't react. And the moment those words leave your mouth, you'll feel it. A sinking in your chest. A knowing. And you'll want to take it back. But it's too late. The door just closed. Proverbs 18:21 tells us, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Not next week, not eventually, right now, on this Tuesday. In this conversation, your tongue is holding your future, and the enemy knows it. So let me speak to the elders in this room, because you know exactly what I'm talking about. You've survived wars, you've buried loved ones, you've lost jobs, fought sickness, rebuilt your life from nothing. You didn't make it this far by being careless. You made it because you learned how to read a room, how to feel danger before you see it, how to shut your mouth when your spirit said, wait. At your age, you've survived too much to fall for a trap this small. But here's the promise. If you hold your peace on Tuesday, heaven responds. And it responds immediately. I'm not talking about someday. I'm not talking about eventually. I'm talking about within hours. You will see movement. Doors will crack open. Phone calls will come. Clarity will hit your mind like lightning. Because when you refuse to step out of position, God steps in. Isaiah 30:15 says, "In quietness and trust is your strength, not in explaining yourself, not in defending your position, in quietness, in the discipline to stay silent when everything in you wants to speak." So here's what I want you to do right now. If this is landing in your spirit, if you feel the weight of what I'm saying, type in the comments, "I choose silence." Let heaven see your declaration. Let the enemy know you're not falling for it anymore. Because Tuesday is coming, the setup is already in motion. But now you have the code. Tone before content, 3 seconds of discernment. Hold your peace when the switch happens. And here's what I need you to understand as we move forward. This isn't just about avoiding disaster. This is about activating something God has been holding in reserve for you. Something so specific, so powerful, that the enemy had to try to stop it before it even started. So the question now is, what exactly has God been preparing while you weren't looking? Now let me tell you what happens when you get this right. When you choose silence over reaction on Tuesday, November 18th, something breaks open in the realm you cannot see. I'm not talking about positive thinking. I'm not talking about ignoring your problems or pretending everything is fine while your heart is screaming. I'm talking about a spiritual transaction. The Bible says in Proverbs 15:1, "A gentle answer turns away wrath." But do you know what that really means? It means when you restrain your tongue in the moment it wants to lash out, when you swallow the bitterness instead of spitting it at someone who hurt you, heaven takes note. God marks it. Angels shift. The enemy loses ground. And something that has been locked for years begins to crack open. You've been praying for your adult children to call you back. You've been asking God why your son won't speak to you, why your daughter looks at you with cold eyes, why the grandkids feel like strangers. You've been on your knees begging for restoration, for peace, for one conversation that doesn't end in a slammed door or a text left unread. And God has been waiting for Tuesday. Not because he's cruel, not because he's testing you for sport, but because the door to your breakthrough is guarded by your own restraint. The moment you refuse to defend yourself when you're provoked, the moment you bite your tongue when the accusation comes, the moment you let someone misunderstand you without correcting them in anger, that is when heaven moves. James 1:19 says, "Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." Slow, not silent forever, not weak, but controlled, restrained, deliberate. Do you know how much power that takes? Do you know how rare that is in a world that screams, "Stand up for yourself, don't let anyone disrespect you, clap back, defend your name"? But the chosen ones? We operate differently. When you silence your tongue, heaven speaks on your behalf. Let me paint you a picture. It's Wednesday morning, November 19th. You wake up and something feels different. The heaviness that's been sitting on your chest for months, it's lighter. You check your phone, and there's a message from someone you haven't heard from in years. Or maybe it's not a message. Maybe it's a feeling, a release, a quiet knowing that the war is over. Maybe your daughter calls, not with an agenda, not to argue, but just to hear your voice. Maybe your son shows up at your door with your grandkids and says, "I don't know why, but I felt like I needed to come see you today." That's not coincidence. That's the reward of restraint. You think God isn't watching when you hold your peace. You think he doesn't see when you close your mouth instead of cursing. When you choose the high road even though it feels like you're swallowing glass. Psalm 34:13 says, "Keep your tongue from evil and your lips from telling lies." And the very next verse, "Turn from evil and do good. Seek peace and pursue it." There's a sequence here. First, you restrain. Then, peace comes. Not the other way around. But here's what most people miss. Tuesday has a secret door, and only the restrained will find it. Everyone else will be fighting, defending, reacting, spiraling. They'll spend Tuesday nursing their wounds, rehearsing arguments, preparing their defense, building their case. And while they're doing that, they'll walk right past the door God opened just for them. But you, if you stay quiet, if you stay low, if you refuse the bait, you'll see it. A moment, a conversation, a phone call, an opportunity, something small that looks ordinary but carries the weight of heaven behind it. And when you walk through that door, everything shifts. I've seen it happen. I watched a woman in my congregation hold her tongue during a Thanksgiving dinner where her son's wife tore her apart in front of the whole family. She said nothing. She smiled. She prayed under her breath. 3 days later, her son called her crying, apologizing for things he hadn't apologized for in 15 years. Coincidence? No. Reward. I've seen men bite back rage when their pride was stepped on, and within a week, job offers came. Reconciliations happened. Doors that were bolted shut swung open like they were never locked at all. This is how God works. He waits for you to prove you trust him more than you trust your own defense. And when you do, he defends you in ways you could never defend yourself. So here's my question for you. Are you ready for your reward? Are you ready for the phone call, the peace, the restoration, the breakthrough that's been held back because you keep reaching for the sword instead of reaching for silence? Because Tuesday is your test, and Wednesday is your reward. If you're ready to receive what God has been preparing, if you're ready to walk through that secret door, if you're tired of fighting and you're ready to let heaven fight for you, I need you to write in the comments right now, "I receive it." Say it out loud if you have to. Declare it over your life. Because the moment you make that declaration, you're choosing restraint over reaction. You're choosing God's way over your way. And beloved, God's way always wins. But there's something else you need to know about Tuesday. Something most people will never see coming. Because while restraint opens one door, there's another door that swings wide on November 18th. A door most people miss entirely because they're too busy being right. And that door, that's where the real miracle lives. Now let me tell you something most believers will never discover in their entire lives. Tuesday holds a door. Not a metaphor. Not a poetic idea. A real spiritual threshold that swings open once a week, and most people walk right past it because they're too loud, too angry, too distracted to notice. In Ecclesiastes 3-7, Solomon wrote, "A time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak." He didn't say those times were random. He said they were appointed. Chosen one. What if I told you that Tuesday, this Tuesday, November 18th, is your appointed time to be silent? To stop defending yourself. To stop reacting. To stop proving you're right. Because when you choose silence over reaction, something opens in the spirit. Listen carefully. Every week, heaven releases what I call an open moment, a window where the veil between prayer and answer grows thin. For some, it's early morning. For others, it's in the middle of suffering. But for the chosen ones walking through transition right now, that moment lands on Tuesday. And here's what unlocks it. Dignity. Not pride. Not strength. Dignity. When someone disrespects you and you don't retaliate. When you're misunderstood and you don't defend. When you've been hurt and you choose forgiveness anyway, not because they deserve it, but because you refuse to let bitterness lock the door God is trying to open. Proverbs 25-28 says, A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. Chosen one, your walls aren't broken by enemies. They're broken by your own reactions, by the email you send in anger, by the argument you can't let go, by the grudge you hold against someone who doesn't even remember what they did. And on Tuesday, when heaven is listening closer than usual, that reaction becomes the mistake that destroys your breakthrough. Think about this. How many times have you been one day away from a miracle and sabotaged it with your mouth? One conversation away from reconciliation and burned the bridge with pride. One moment away from peace and grabbed onto chaos because silence felt like weakness. Your age doesn't weaken your prayers, it strengthens them. You've lived long enough to know that maturity isn't about winning arguments. It's about knowing which battles steal your anointing and which silences position you for promotion. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness learning this. He had to become a man who could lead millions, not by force, but by surrender. And when God finally called him, it wasn't his strength that qualified him, it was his brokenness. But here's the mystery most people miss. The door doesn't just open because you're quiet. It opens because of what you do in the quiet. Forgiveness isn't passive, it's warfare. When you release someone who wounded you, you're not letting them off the hook. You're cutting the chain the enemy was using to drag you backward. You're telling hell, you can't use this anymore. And heaven hears that. Type this right now if you're receiving this. Open the door, Lord, because I need to know you're still with me. I need to know your spirit is awake. Because what I'm about to tell you next is the part most preachers won't say, the part that separates those who get close to their calling from those who actually walk into it. You see, there's still one more thing, something most people never see, even when they're standing right in front of the door. And if you miss it on Tuesday, if you let the wrong emotion, the wrong reaction, the wrong spirit take over for even 5 minutes, you won't just delay your blessing. You'll destroy the very thing God spent years preparing you to carry. So stay with me, because the mistake is about to become clear. And so is the way out. Chosen one, let me leave you with this. Tuesday, November 18th, is not just another day on the calendar. It's a threshold, a test, a moment when heaven is watching to see if you've learned what silence, forgiveness, and dignity really mean. Remember this. The mistake that destroys your breakthrough isn't loud, it's quiet. It's hidden in your reactions, your pride, your refusal to let go of what's already hurting you. But you have a choice. You can walk through that door with clean hands and a humble heart, or you can slam it shut with anger, bitterness, and the need to be right. God has been preparing something for you, something you can't see yet. Something that requires a version of you that's been refined by fire, matured by suffering, and strengthened by surrender. And I want you to know you are not alone in this. You're not walking this path by yourself. God is still working, even in the silence, even when it feels like nothing is happening. He's positioning, aligning, preparing, and there's a community right here. Thousands of us who are praying with you, believing with you, standing with you. So let me ask you this. What are you holding on to that's keeping the door closed? What reaction, what grudge, what bitterness are you carrying that's heavier than the blessing God is trying to give you? Now, I want to pray over you. Wherever you are, whether you're in your living room in Queens, a quiet apartment in the Bronx, or sitting alone at your kitchen table, I want you to close your eyes, take a deep breath, and receive this. Father, I come before you right now on behalf of every person hearing my voice. Lord, you see them. You know their pain. You know their weariness. You know how hard they've fought and how many times they've wanted to give up. But God, I'm asking you, open the door, the one they've been standing in front of for years, the one that's been locked by hurt, by disappointment, by their own mistakes. Give them the strength to choose silence when they want to scream. Give them the grace to forgive when they want to hold on. Give them the dignity to walk away from battles that aren't theirs to fight. Lord, bless their Tuesday. Let November 18th be the day everything shifts. Let it be the day they finally stop sabotaging their own breakthrough. Let it be the day heaven moves on their behalf because they finally got out of their own way. Protect their hearts, guard their mouths, steady their spirits, and let them feel your presence so strongly that they know beyond any doubt that you have not forgotten them. In Jesus' name, Amen. Now, I need you to do something for me. If this message touched you, if something in your spirit came alive while you were listening, leave a comment below. Type, "I'm walking through the door," or "Pray for me," or even just "Amen." Let me know you're here. Let this community know you're here. Because when we pray together, something breaks in the spirit. And if you know someone who needs to hear this, someone who's been fighting the same battles, making the same mistakes, standing at the same door, share this video with them. Send it to them right now. Don't wait. Because Tuesday is coming, and they need to be ready. Also, if you haven't subscribed to this channel yet, I'm asking you to do that today. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because these messages are not accidental. They're strategic, they're timed, and if you're here, it's because God has something to say to you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching until the very end. Thank you for trusting me with your time and your heart. Now go, walk in dignity, choose silence, open the door, and watch what God does next.